that low temperature resistant nylon depends mainly on the type of modification. Is it a super tough, or toughened, or something like thermally conductive nylon? The understanding of low temperature resistance is different for different types. For example, the so-called low temperature resistant. I think there are generally three types of low temperature resistant. One situation is the product has not done anything. Put it there and freeze it at low temperature. Several hours of freezing, or how many hours of high and low temperature cycle. This is a completely plastic product. It does not have any metal parts inside. Then it is judged at this time, after the material has been cycled through high and low temperature, back to room temperature, to see if it can still maintain its desired mechanical properties, or whether it can maintain the desired, that is to say, after the product has been subjected to high and low, back to room temperature, will its properties be destroyed? This is often not particularly demanding. Fortunately, it is not under stress, and there is no grouting parts. This is one type. The second type is the one with a grouted part. There is a package. You can also understand that it has other forces. For example, the thermally conductive nylon. It has an aluminum cup in the middle, or some structural parts of nylon. It's got to have some kind of metal part in the middle. The handle is inserted in the middle or something like that. Then this time to do low temperature. Then high temperature or normal temperature or low temperature. In these two processes, obviously, the thermal expansion and contraction of metal. The coefficient of expansion is definitely different from that of nylon. Usually I understand that plastic is definitely larger than metal. So in the low temperature process, the plastic may shrink faster than the metal. Then the metal has to hold it apart again. So at this point you can't understand it. There is no force, but there is a force. But you can't change this force. Why? Is it because of thermal expansion and contraction? I understand that the force generated is very large. You want to prevent this by the very good properties of the material. Contraction or expansion. The expansion of the metal. I don't think it's possible for the nylon to be strong enough. I don't think it's possible to restrain it. That's where your nylon modification comes into play. Nylon modification. To have a better elongation force. Look at what our old Zheng said. If you focus on elongation, you must allow it to deform. That deformation will not lead to damage. This is the second category. Then the third category is the material. At a low temperature of -40 degrees or so. The cold resistance at the same time. Also, at such a low temperature, it will be subjected to ball impact or do some destructive experiments. This is the time to really think that. At low temperatures, it depends on how much impact. This is often reflected in low temperature drop of impact resistance. It can be a notched impact or a non-notched impact. Then, of course, we should also pay attention to the elongation. So in general, I think low temperature resistance will have three main categories of dry alkali.